Welcome to Earthstar Freedom Friday. I am the Krypton-Knight, and I've come today to bring you the latest and greatest information on the blockchain, cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and how we as the people can get free of the matrix.
Well, Tony, thanks for coming on our first Earthstar Freedom Friday. So, Tony, launch the show.
Thanks everyone for coming on and listening to my very first episode of Earthstar Freedom Friday. I call myself the Krypton-Knight. It's a bit of a play on words with the crypto and my name being Knight. So I thought it was a nice little pun there. I'm really here. This channel, Earthstar Freedom, is really about finding our ultimate freedom, awakening freedom. And within that, I realized that our most pressing problem, or one of our most pressing problems, is finding financial freedom. And so I created Krypton-Knight because I believe in the cryptocurrency world and blockchain. We have an opportunity now to find that freedom for the first time in probably in our history of human beings. So so without further ado, I thought I would just get into firstly I want to introduce Gerald. Gerald will be in the window. He's helping me with the technical stuff. I'm a bit of a a bit funny when it comes to the technological stuff, but Gerald is there to help as a moderator.
Yeah, just a little note for your name to come across, and so I can quote you nicely on there. Please go to that link. If you look at the description at the top of the post, the link there which says Ecamm Live, just follow that and just say yes, and then Ecamm then can use your name and we can see who you are. But yeah, that'd be great. So just follow that link and we'll see your names. Oh, look, a few have come through. Fantastic. We've got a great audience today. We've got actually heaps of people. So off you go, Tony.
Awesome. Well, I'll just to give a bit of background, I'll just do a quick intro into a little tiny piece of my story. Basically, I've been in business for myself for 26 years. I've been self-employed for 30 years. I basically made my way through just creating, using ideas that I was effectively downloaded, and I'm just followed my passion. And in doing my business, which was all around spirituality, helping people find who they are, but through the new age avenue. So it was it was fun, but it was very quite limited. But I had a lot of fun running a store, selling crystals and books and incense and Indian artifacts, all that kind of stuff, and created a natural therapy, aromatherapy business. Took people to India, but all along I'm also realized that I loved the concept of business or entrepreneurship, really. And a true entrepreneur is really a creator. This is what it is. And a true entrepreneur is someone who's creating something that is actually assisting humanity. That's how I see it. Entrepreneur means basically entering into a promise to do something good for the earth. And I realized quite quickly, after a lot of stoushes with the tax department, banks, and struggling for many years to make ends meet, that if I didn't master the financial side of things, I wouldn't be in business and I wouldn't be able to achieve my purpose. I wouldn't be able to do what I do and reach people and assist people with what I was given without having some foundation in the financial sense. And a foundation is also can be applied in many areas, but our financial area of life is a very key foundation, particularly now in the world when we have so much going on that level. So I'm going to give a little overview of how I see the existing financial system now, because we've got to provide a bit of context to this. And then I'll be providing what I see as our solution, which is around the what the crypto, blockchain, DeFi, decentralized finance offers. And then I'm going to briefly look at a couple of scenarios around the central bank created digital money versus true cryptocurrency. And if we've got time, I can go into some other solutions on a more natural, spiritual level. If we don't get time to go there, we can do another part to this next time. So basically, when we look at the existing financial system, one of its key factors is it's heavily centralized. A lot of people think the Federal Reserve is where, or I should say, not a lot of people know who the Federal Reserve are, or some of you probably do. But the Federal Reserve isn't the ultimate centralized money cartel. There's actually, above them is the IMF, the International Money Fund and Monetary Fund, but above them is the BIS, or the Bank of International Settlements, which is actually the central bank of central bankers. It is where the elites of the elites put their money, and these guys are really running the show. And so because of this trinity of BIS, IMF, Federal Reserve, they are printing all the money, and the way they do it, there's no real privacy for us. All central banks in each country are hooked in to this trinity, and they know pretty much everything about us. Through all our tax records, nothing is private, nothing at all, and they can turn you on or turn you off, whatever, at their desire. So there's no control over our money and our resources, because they can literally shut you down at any time. They're issuing the money, they're distributing the money. So all mortgages are created out of thin air, and then charging interest on that, and then we're paying tax. 50% of our tax goes to paying back the interest on the debt that our countries owe. And because they're printing money to infinity, there's inflation, and then there's a thing called fractional reserve banking, where they're actually loaning out hundreds of times more money than what they actually hold in reserve. And this is a real problem, because it's created a massive Ponzi scheme, a massive debt mountain that is enormous. And that debt is, in their eyes, we're guarantors of that debt. So that's clearly a major issue. And then we have our cash, our fiat money, which people so love. And I understand people get upset about losing access to cash, that which may or may not happen. But the problem is there's fundamental issues with cash, because it's tied into that same system. Because that fiat money, which means decreed by the government, it means that by legal means they're forcing us to have to take that cash. And because of inflation and because of the debt, that is actually a debt instrument. We are holding a time bomb that could go off at any time. So to try and cut to the chase, that's basically an overview. I'm sure a lot of you have some understanding of that. So that's the kind of problem. The solution in general terms is that we need a sound money supply. We need our cash at least backed by gold or silver. We need to create a solid foundation for ourselves that is based on a sound money system. We need to make money work for us rather than us working for money, especially in this age where robotics is huge, AI is getting huge. It's much, much bigger than what we realize. They've already got it all there. It's already been introduced, but there's a lot more to come. So jobs are very much in the gun. And we need to understand the difference between holding assets versus liabilities versus a true currency or true sound money supply. We need to understand that money is an exchange of energy. True money, if it's backed by real asset, is a true exchange of energy for our labor, for our hard work, because it's not been inflated away, because it's connected to something natural, it's connected to the earth, it's connected to the truth, basically. And of course, and then that brings me into the blockchain, cryptocurrency, also silver, gold, and land. Really, to me, these are all assets. Not all of them are paying us money, but true asset will actually pay you in the long run. But they are at least a hedge. They are a protection against the cash, which is virtually worthless now. The only reason it is still accepted is by common denominator, people believing that it's worth something, and because the cabal or the bankers are keeping it afloat so that they can bring in their great reset, which I will touch on if I've got time. So what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is basically a way of it's encrypted money. Crypto means encryption or encrypted, which means it's completely private if it's issued in the right way. It's peer-to-peer exchange. It's also open source technology. So cryptocurrency is the tip of the iceberg of what's below the water is the blockchain. And the blockchain is where all the action happens. So the currency that we see or we transact with is only as good as the coding or the protocol, as they call it, of the blockchain. And so what is blockchain? It's basically how could I describe it? It's like the internet, but an evolved internet 2.0, as we can transfer information from one computer to another. What we're doing with the blockchain is that we can transfer that completely privately. If you can imagine a whole lot of plumbing pipes underneath your house sending the water from the toilet to the sewer and from the sink to all the plumbing that eventually takes it out to the sewer, the money is traveling through these pipes. It effectively means that you can transact peer-to-peer, person-to-person through the internet without anybody else being able to witness that. No one is able to pry into that. It is completely secure. It is the underlying structure which creates cryptocurrency. There's two main types of blockchain. There's proof of work and there's proof of stake. Proof of work, there's a saying now that proof of work doesn't work because proof of work relies on other people, effectively the miners, in order to bring the currency into existence. Like Bitcoin is proof of work. That is a major problem when most of the miners are concentrated in China or run by China, in Iran or China. Out of 6 main mining pools, 5 of them are controlled by the CCP. So Bitcoin, I believe, it is basically a PR marketing exercise to get people used to digital money and get people thinking they can make money quickly and have a get-rich-quick scheme, which is totally not the case. So it's still controlled by the same powers that be. And blockchain is also known as DLT, or distributed ledger technology. So effectively, you could say it's like a private accounting sheet. It's like a ledger, just like when our accountant in the old days, we used to do accounting in a ledger book. And then we have now things like Xero, where you do your accounting there. So the blockchain is really a record of every transaction, which if it's decentralized, then it's ultimately private. So this brings me into what makes a crypto legitimate encrypted money. Well, as I just touched on, decentralization, also known as DeFi. DeFi standing for decentralized finance. So finance, everything that is going to be transacted eventually will end up in the blockchain. I'm totally confident of that. And you're already starting to see it through decentralized exchanges, where you can buy and trade and sell your cryptos. That means that instead of a centralized point controlling your money that sits on their system, you have your own private secured portal into that, which nobody else can see. So with Binance, I think Binance is going decentralized, but I think Coinbase, some of these big exchanges, they're not decentralized, and so they're still effectively there's still a vulnerability there. The other thing that makes a legitimate crypto is that you have your private keys. You have your own wallet. Again, on some of the exchanges, if you're keeping your money on an exchange, your money is vulnerable. You can use an exchange to buy a crypto, but you want to get it into your wallet as soon as you can. And then you're in control of it with your own private keys. So it's like a crypto bank account. Another thing that's a must is there's limited supply. This is why we have major inflation problems and why the system is reset every 30 or 40 or 50 years. It's because when the cash has come to its use by date and there's nothing left to squeeze out and debt has got so big, the powers that be will reset the system, and that's partly because of inflation, and it's partly because inflation is caused because of infinite money printing. So if you've got a limited supply, then instead of just having a currency that doesn't lose its value, you've got a currency that will gain in value or grow in value, especially when it's got a use case. Well, ultimately, it must have a use case. It must be used in the real world. Otherwise, why would people keep buying it? Coins like Dogecoin or Dogcoin, as it's called, these are complete distractions, and you want to stay well away from any coin that has been created purely for hype alone. Dogecoin has no use. It's fit for the dogs, not for us. So, and with those use cases, they can be different use cases. They don't just have to be a currency. They can be a security token versus a currency token. Now, a security token, I'm just going to say briefly that it's basically a digital asset or digital share in a real asset. Just like we have share certificates in the existing stock market, we can have an SDO, which is a digital version of a shareholding. And everything, I believe, is going to become digitized. Everything, every asset, property, from everything from property to cars to any transaction, any asset, is all eventually going to have a token attached to it, which means that to move it, to buy it, to sell it, to transfer it or whatever, you're going to need to use a cryptocurrency for it to move. And so this creates a energy wave that will create a new economy, basically. And ideally, a good security token should offer you a passive income. And we do this through the staking. Like I said, there's proof of work or there's proof of stake. Staking comes from proof of stake protocols, and this is where a lot of cryptos are moving. Ethereum was created as proof of work. It is now moving to proof of stake for that very reason. They've realized that there's a major loophole in their technology, or there's a major flaw, and they are moving for that reason. And effectively, when Ethereum and Bitcoin were first created, the technology has come along a long way since then. So even though Bitcoin is prime mover and it's the first, it's actually considered now a dinosaur technology because of the open source technology, and because there's so many very smart investor people or technology people working on developing the space. No one owns blockchain. It is completely like a world factory working on perfecting this. This is the one thing that's really going to set it apart from the rest of the centralized system. This is effectively millions of people who have a big reason to create sound money. So this is what's happening behind the scenes. And you'll see a lot of fluff and FOMO and FUD and misinformation, disinformation around this, because the cabal want to confuse the hell out of us, make us think that we're all going to be, it's all going to be just another dead end. It's not, if we know what we're looking at. So basically, this is the new way of transacting. This is a new internet of value, what they call the internet of value, where the internet was created for this reason, I believe, knowing that these problems would be solved. So now we're in an environment where they're talking about a great reset. This is a great reset on every level. This is a social reset. It's a financial reset. It's come on the back of coronavirus. It's coming on the back of their own problem of the debt bomb that's about to explode. So they need a great reset in order to try and shift the blame from them onto all sorts of things that they can come up with. And they're doing it because they know that if they can't control the money, then they can't control us. So they're putting out their own central bank digital currency. It's not a true cryptocurrency. It's just going to be another centralized system under their control. And I'm quite sure that we're going to see a universal basic income come out of that. And there's going to be all kinds of demands on your privacy for you to be able to get that. And so we want to be autonomous. We want to be off that. We want to be reliant on our own way of transacting through true cryptocurrency. And with that is coming a great awakening. And as people awaken, I truly believe that with this open source technology for crypto, that we will be able to create a separate system that will exist kind of in parallel to the central bank system. And they cannot bring it down This simply cannot be stopped. The genie's out of the bottle. They cannot regulate it. All they can do is try and manage it by convincing the people to take their own currency, by convincing the people that, to trust them and not these other currencies that have been created. But really, I think that they are going to be fighting a losing battle. And I think 3 or 4 years' time, we will emerge from a lot of chaos, but we will emerge in a much different world, in a much different state. So what's happening is there's a giant wealth transfer happening. In other words, money that has been locked up in assets that are crumbling, like derivatives, which alone has over quadrillions of money in, and their bonds, which is just the way they issue debt to governments and therefore to us, through their stock market, which is only being held up by their constant printing of money and then feeding it into their system to prop it up. But the thing is that the more they do that, the more they are going to lose control, because eventually it will have to burst. And when it bursts, there's going to be a major chaos. I see a major chaos happening in the world. For those who are protected and who have got their money safely transferred into these newer areas where we can get the privacy and the transparency, then we are going to be protected. And this is how a new economy is going to be created, that's going to run kind of parallel to the existing economy. So I reckon we've got 3 years of some ups and downs, and then we will emerge victory. So I see 2025 as like a major breakthrough year. But initially, us early adopters, there's always the early adopters, and then there's the followers, and then there's the latecomers. And the latecomers, are the ones that are late to the party, are going to be in for a hard time. And so I believe that by taking action now, we can truly create a new, what I call the new, what we call in a one crypto I'm involved in, called the new economic evolution of the world. It's actually an economic, social, environmental evolution of the world. And it's an evolution, not a revolution, because this has to be done peacefully. And as more people are in control of their own money, and as we come together in a circular economy, not as a pyramid Ponzi scheme, then there isn't anything these small number of elites can do to stop it. This is needed now. It has to happen, and it is going to happen. It's just a matter of how quickly people wake up and realize that we have to take care of business right here on Earth. This is our transacting. This is related to, this isn't just money. This is, as I say, exchange of energy for shelter, for food, for the basics that we need in life. If we are having to go cap in hand to the central bank to get our income because there's no jobs, there's no money, and they're going to say, if you're going to get our money, you've got to meet all these conditions. You've effectively signed away your last shred of sovereignty. So that's kind of how I see it. So there's quite a bit of, I've downloaded a whole lot of information there. I know that you're going to probably have a whole lot of questions. But I will just pause there. I don't know how long we've been going, Gerald. How long are we?
It's 4:29, so you've done really well. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I will just give a little model that I have developed. I call it my Earth Star model. I base it on the 5 elements, and I see this as an important piece of the puzzle of finding true freedom. This is what I'll go into in the alternate weeks. One week I'll do Krypton-Knight, and I'll focus on the financial side. But the other week, I'm going to focus on what I call natural intel or natural intelligence. And natural intelligence, it's all in us. It's all in us as light and information. And it's in our heart, and it's in our minds, and it's in every cell of our body. But it's locked up. It's literally, the keys to the kingdom are within, as they say. But no one knows where the lock is. They don't know where the key is. They have no idea how to unlock that information, that when you do, your power will be such that no other third party or entity will be able to touch you. No one will be able to come in and do anything to you. They won't take your money away. They can't make you have something you don't want to have, like, say, in a vaccine, for instance, because your power will be such that they won't be able to get to you. This is what being in the light is all about. And the model goes like this. There's earth, air, fire, water, ether. Earth is our foundation. In this case, it's our financial foundation. What I'm relating to, I'm going to apply it. Our finances are a foundation, because if we cannot transact, we effectively cannot live on the earth and the physical earth without basically signing your life away. So we have to have a foundation. That's what the earth is all about. It's also about good structure and systems. The water is related to our emotional state. And actually, water is also related to money, because money is supposed to flow. Just like water is supposed to flow. You turn on a tap and water flows out. This is why money is referred to as liquidity. When you're in the flow, you'll be abundant. But when our emotional state is in a state of depression or fear, you're not going to be very abundant, and you're not going to be attracting money to you. I can assure you that. Or what you are getting is going to come with so many strings attached that you're not going to be free. And then there's air, which is our mindset. This is our critical thinking. This is our research. This is knowledge. We need to use our left brain for critical thinking and for knowledge seeking, and for and in relation to cryptos, because there is a bit of technology involved, we need a left brain to be able to work it and to decipher it. Everything is code, and we have to decipher things. And so the crypto really needs a developed mind. And fire is our heart, it's our passion, it's our soul. The heart is in our center for a reason, because that is our balancing point. When we've got a heart, so applying it to money, it's about helping our loved ones, it's about helping our families, it's about having a passion of maybe we want to use the money to create something to assist people, whatever it might be. So money is related to our soul. It's related to our soul. It's related to our heart, because our heart cannot rest if we haven't got a true financial foundation. And then ether. Ether is the ultimate spirit, our spiritual energy. It's our prana. It's related to our light electromagnetic aspect, our plasma aspect of life. It's related to the magnetics and the electrics, which creates everything. And the ether is really electromagnetic, and that is where light comes from. And light comes from the dark. Light springs out of the dark. The dark and the light are actually coexisting in perfect harmony. And this is why I believe we have to look at the uncomfortable things in ourselves and in the world in order to bring in the light. Because avoidance of the dark, or the fear, or you could say evil, which evil is just the opposite of light. So you could say evil is another dark, which means unknown, unaware, out of your sight. So we need to look in the dark places so that we can balance the light. That's all it is. It's not dwelling in the dark. It's using the dark to bring your light forth. And so we can apply this model to any area of your life. You can apply it to your finances, to your relationships, to your physical health. You can apply it specifically to, say, something like your diet or food, to your job, your work, whatever, anything. Because this model is a timeless occult model. And we're told that 5-pointed stars can be evil, and all these symbologies, the all-seeing eye is evil, and they are just usurping a natural model, or who we truly are. Symbols are telling us something about who we are. They're a language, and when it's being used, when the broadcast is constantly negative about it, people think it's a negative symbol. It's not. It's a completely benign, neutral system that we have been conditioned evil or nasty or bad or whatever. So we have to this is where the knowledge of history and what religion is really about, which is actually just the one creator God. Why do we have 41,000 religions? To confuse and to further create basically ignorance and the darkness, basically. So I believe that anyone who's going into cryptos, you need to also work on yourself in this way. You need to work on your internal environment as well as your money. And you have to understand why you're creating money and understand the difference between money or currency and true asset. And then you need to apply that. It needs to be applied and implemented in a way that's in balance with all those other elements. And there's a difference also between investing and spending and saving. Saving is an absolute waste of time in the traditional financial system. We need to be thinking more of investing. And so when people are programmed about cost of things and spending your money, that is the consumer society that we've been trained into. We need to invest so that the money works for us, not us constantly trading our time for money. Also, I think when you're thinking about this, like, mindset is so critical, and research. I've tried to touch on quite a few things, and I'm encouraging you all to go off and do your own research, because I am not a financial advisor. I would never want to be a financial advisor in the traditional way. I'm really just, this is for entertainment purposes only, but this is something that we need to take seriously. This is not just child's play now. We're in the world now where if we don't learn the wider world about what's going on around us, the tidal wave, when it hits, you will be like flotsam smashed against the rocks. It'll be too late then. The digital economy is coming whether we like it or not. So I believe now we have the ultimate opportunity to create what I call the new Earth economic transformation. And that is what it is. It's about a new Earth, a new 5D Earth. It's about, and we transform the economics, eco meaning environmental, and nomics meaning counting. So we just need to take better account of the eco aspect of ourselves, which is nature. So economics is referring to nature in a direct way, but people see it as money, or they see it as evil because someone's rich and someone's poor. It's totally another conditioning that we've fallen for. So that's basically from me. Now I welcome anyone to ask any questions. We've got to have about 10 minutes where we can do a bit of a Q&A. And then, as I say, this is just my first live stream. Forgive me if I'm a little bit I'm just still getting used to actually speaking out something that I'm used to just writing. So forgive me if I've spoken a bit fast, or I know I'm talking on subjects that you're just trying to get your head around. But as time goes on, I'm sure I'll get better at conveying the info.
Well, you've mentioned a few terms like, blockchain, which you explained very well. Are there any words or any terms that you've heard in the audience that are still a little bit you're not sure about? You'd like a little bit of explanation? Please feel free to ask questions. We all started at the beginning, so if this is like the first time you've heard about cryptos and it's like, everybody knows about cryptos and I don't, I'm a bit afraid to ask. Feel free to ask, because we've all started there. But we've got a few comments. Thank you for the praise and the encouragement, everyone. Thanks, Steve, for saying yes. As always, it starts from within.
I might also add that just you being interested in this, you're still in a major minority. I would say that probably 80% of the people are completely dismissing crypto or thinking it's a fad or another scam or whatever. There's a lot of scams out there, but this is why we have to dig deeper below the surface, and we cannot follow. We have to do a lot of research. I've spent 6 years researching crypto, just specifically. I've held crypto since 2016. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've lost crypto. This will happen along the way, but by getting into it now, I can't stress how important that is, because then you might be able to have some discernment as to what certain terms or what's been put out by the IMF or the Federal Reserve. You might be able to get some understanding as to what's happening.
Well, Tracy asks, where? Well, maybe I'll ask. I'll get someone else's question first, and then I'll give you Tracy's question. Someone else asked, where do you see the work of Rick Jewler's Global People's One Try system going?
I believe that he's got a great idea, and I've seen many good ideas, but he's still saying that if we come together and if we it can happen. But he's got no system. He's got no system. He's got no structure. As far as I can tell, he's just portraying a future ideal. But for something to work, you need a system. You need a structure. And, this is why I look for, when I talk about the tokenomics or the new token economy that's coming, when then you look at the specific tokens within there, I'm looking for what's meeting those main criteria that I went through at the beginning. Decentralized, limited supply, a use case, passive income earning, your own private key. I mean, there's many different parts to create a system, and you can only drive a car if you've got the car body around you and the engine works and the wheels turn. And this is why I am into some cryptocurrencies that have a system. They already have a community. Some of you are already a part of it. You know about the crypto unit or the World Crypto Unit. And this is going places because a lot of that hard work and the system and the foundation is already done. So if you want more information on that, feel free to private message me. But there's other really good tokens out there that I believe are developing good systems and use cases. But by and large, none of them are regulated. None of them are yet quite there. It's all just speculation. So it's just like going to the casino and throwing your money over the roulette wheel or something. Until it's got a use case, and a solid use case at that, and it's got adoption from people, then creating our ideal society based on what Rick is saying isn't going to happen. I know I've tried so many times to get people together, galvanized around an idea, but it always fell apart when there was no structure. That's why I reckon.
So Tracy asks a practical question. What cryptos are you using at the present to purchase things from the supermarket and other ordinary transactions?
None. Nothing.
Yeah.
Bitcoin will never be used for that. That's what it was developed for. All it is at the moment is buying them, holding them, trading them for others, and it's very early days, so they haven't yet. I believe there are Bitcoin and Ethereum ATMs around the world, and there are certain institutions that are accepting Bitcoin and a few of the others. There's a few online platforms. PayPal is one, but it hasn't yet hit the stores.
Yeah.
But it's about to with our World Crypto Unit. That is very close. XRP looks like it could well be part of the foundation for the new a new central bank created system. But XRP won't be just, it'll be the link or the bridge between, I believe, a secondary crypto economy and the banks. It won't actually be just for the cabal. It'll be a key on-ramp, off-ramp. So XRP to me looks like it might be the closest to coming, or a central bank created digital money, which, I'm not going to, if they offer it to me, I personally am not going to take it. I'm in a position where I can do that, but that's only through my own effort.
So XRP is Ripple, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Steve actually says, I now have a debit card that is connected to Bitcoin. Can go to the ATM to get cash or buy dinner, just like my Kiwi Bank debit card. It's the future.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's great to hear. Excellent. Well, I want a debit card like that too. And I believe they will become the norm. We'll have debit cards in the future where they're loaded with all different cryptos, and we'll be able to exit out into cash. We'll be able to put cash in. We'll be able to swap them for others through some simple pushes of a few buttons. And I see that. I definitely see that happening. And I don't actually see cash going completely. I believe we're not going to a cashless society. I think there will be cash, digital money parallel for quite a few years yet.
Yeah. So John asks, what are your? So this is a really good question. What are your recommendations to handle risk given the volatility?
Really good question. I would look at those key indicators. I'll really look at the use case. I'd read their white paper. I will do all my due diligence. I will see who's backing it. Look at the people behind it. Look at the business, the company around it. Look at who are they partnering with. And I would look at, the structure, the coding, was it a proof of stake? Is it proof of work? Is it maybe another kind of technology we don't know about? So really comes back to doing your research and watch and just, basically spending some time.
And this is possibly something that you will maybe do more presentations on, isn't it, Tony? That to go into the the nuts and bolts of it and how to do the research and what to look out for in more detail. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is just like because it's my initial one, I wanted to sort of paint a bit of a picture, paint the overview of what we're up against, give you the possibility that crypto can be very beneficial, and that there is a way, what I call the exit to the matrix. And yes, but when it comes to individual wallets, when it comes to creating a wallet, when it comes to buying, trading, or swapping, and you can exit out to cash if you want to. When it comes to all those different things, I can definitely go into that. And there's a lot of different things we can cover.
Yeah. Cool.
Definitely.
Cool. Yes. So we've got quite a lot in the pipeline to help all you people get going with it and to explore it in safe and comfortable ways for your own knowledge level and your own budget level and all those factors.
Yeah.
So John also Deborah asked something, but before I ask you that question, John says Crypto.com issues debit cards based on asset holdings. So that might be the source of your Bitcoin debit cards.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yes, I've heard of Crypto.com. I haven't really looked at them.
Yeah. So Deborah asks, I think they will use XRP for the merging. I don't know what she means by the merging, but you might understand that. So she's asking whether XRP will be used for the merging, possibly the merging of the economy, isn't it? Going into digital.
Yeah. Because it's very superior as a currency because it's super fast, and what it can do is in an instant convert. Say I was sending money, New Zealand money, to the States. You would use the XRP as the intermediary. It's what they call interoperable, and it's the bridge. So it would take you New Zealand money, it will convert it instantly, and then send it to US dollars, and you use the XRP to facilitate that. And so that's why it's a massive use case there, right there. And it will also be used to send interbank money. It'll be used by the big boys, but you can't stop that. But I still believe that there's going to be a great opportunity for people to get it. It will still be used to send money to small people. XLM or Stellar will also be picking up the slack in that area. Stellar and XRP are kind of what they call the brother and sister currencies. And I think Stellar will be more for the unbanked and for the smaller retail, if you like, side of things, whereas XRP will be more the wholesale. They will have very similar functions because they're created by the same guy.
Right. So have you heard, someone asked, I think it's Tracy asks, have you heard of Russell J. Gold quantum banking? He is the Postmaster General of the world. He is developing a world crypto system.
Yes, I've watched lots of Russell J. Gould stuff, and I'm well aware of what he's done, and he is actually the comptroller, although he's not been recognised because of, we know probably why. But I like Russell J. Gould, but just like anyone else who's trying to do good things, you're up against a fairly entrenched kind of, the elites are very entrenched, and because they control and own just about all the main infrastructure in the financial system, this is why we're having a problem. But this is where the Great Awakening comes in. There's way more of us than them. And as more people wake up to what's happening, that system will come down overnight when we reach tipping point. They can't have a system if we're not paying allegiance to it. This is why it's so important to get educated and get out of ignorance and darkness and into the light of awareness, the light of truth. the light of your own self and your own inner power, which is so largely untapped and going to waste.
Yeah, so we've got about 5 minutes left. Any last questions, or if not, do you have? We'll just give people a chance to ask any last questions, or otherwise, do you have any last words, Tony?
Yeah, what would be my last words is that we're at a very pivotal time in the world, as I'm sure everyone here knows. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, but I believe actually the people have already won. We've already won this war, but as to how long it takes before we all see that we've won is up to us, and it's up to just. It's a numbers game. Just it's up to us, but it's also, in the meantime, we're really going to have to dig deep, and we've got to, as early adopters, we have to find ways to protect ourselves now. Get on the board now and start researching now on the financial level. Forget about all the seed conditioning that we had about money is evil and I don't need money and I can manifest whatever I want. Yeah, you can in theory, but when we're up against such a pervasive system, we have to call on all our elements. So this is not just a one-dimensional how can I make money. It's about looking at, like I said before, that model of our purpose and our passion, and getting into the heart of the matter and finding a good system or a good token or a good cryptocurrency system that's going to meet all our needs. And then we can, with all of those aspects in integrated harmony, then we're a force to be reckoned with. And then as we grow in consciousness, that's what it is. It's all about consciousness. There's a war on our minds and our consciousness, and particularly aimed at our financial side of things, because for a reason, because that's how they can hamstring us. That's how they destabilize us. For the people that aren't aware and are living hand to mouth, those are the people that are most vulnerable. The people that are just living paycheck to paycheck, you can't teach them about manifesting your ultimate desire or telling them about the spiritual stuff. It's got to start from the financial monetary point of view, and then you build your house from there. You start with the foundation. So this is an entry point, but it's not the exit point.
Well, we've got two last questions that they're kind of quite big questions, and maybe you might want to address them another time. I don't know. Kevin has asked sovereignty ? So maybe he's kind of wondering about your use of the word sovereignty. And also someone else, Tracy, I think, talks about you talk about the impact of our relationship to money and fear of not having enough money, which stops the flow of money, crypto, coming. Can you give some advice how we can break out of the fear of not having enough money, if that is how you were raised and if you are on a benefit and you're in that kind of system?
Yeah, that is quite a big question. That's where we've got to do the work on ourselves. We've got to basically do the work to let go of all that conditioning and let go of those programs. They're like programs that are inserted in us as children, and then they play out. And so we grow up with basically slightly dysfunctional. I mean, all humans have dysfunctions, and it's just part of being human. Mm-hmm. So I suggest that that you go to a good therapist and do some past life regression or do some EFT, or basically, I believe a lot of people need some assistance from another person just to help guide them. Affirmations and that are not enough. There's a whole lot of things that you can do. Get out in nature. Find something that you really love to do, and focus on that. Get grounded and start sort of following your heart with things, but really working on more letting go of what you don't need or doesn't serve you, rather than learning anything new.
Yeah, and
it's a whole holistic approach that's required.
And possibly breaking out of that fear also involves doing small steps, small achievable steps, and getting the successes from those small achievable steps that builds up the confidence that, hey, yeah, I can do this. I can do things to establish my sovereignty, which is the word that Kevin used. And I think what he meant by sovereignty was your financial sovereignty, your physical sovereignty, your emotional and mental sovereignty, that is being in control of your mind and having your thoughts and values and beliefs and living according to your own values and beliefs. So that was my little ramble. That's good. Yes. I talk
sovereignty. I don't mean, again, a lot of people misperceive that, and they think of kings and queens and the royal family, and they're the only sovereigns. Sovereignty is just knowing who you are. Sovereignty is just being aware of yourself as a spiritual being, and it's like what you said. There's mental sovereignty, there's emotional sovereignty, there's financial sovereignty. Sovereign just means conscious.
Yeah. Great. Well, we've hit 5 o'clock, and I think that's all we have time for today. But definitely, we'll come back and we'll expand on these and go down different routes and explore different avenues that what you've opened up today. So thanks a lot, Tony, and thanks a lot, everyone, for being here. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. I really appreciate it and value you all. I value your comments. I know some of us go back quite a way, and I know some of us we just recently connected. But really, all I want to do is to help you get over this hurdle of what's going on, and if I can give you some guidance or point you in the right direction, I'm really happy about that. I'm very available. You can ask me questions afterwards, and if you've got any queries about anything else, or the cryptos that I'm involved in, I'm more than happy to share. Great. Good. Well, thanks very much, Tony, and thank you, everyone, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks, or in the meantime, if you want to come next week, and we'll go into your natural intelligence, the natural intel. So watch out for that. Which will help people in other things that the lady was asking about the question around how do we let go and how do we get into that balance that we seek. Well, this is what Star Freedom is about as well, with the natural intel. Cool. Okay, cool. See you guys, and take care. Have a great weekend. Bye all. Have a great weekend. Talk soon. Bye.